There are moments in life when the air feels heavier, yet nothing in your world has changed. Moments when your thoughts twist in directions you never chose, and your emotions rise like waves stirred by an unseen hand. Most people ignore these disturbances, but an X which knows better, because these subtle shifts are never random and they are never innocent. So ask yourself quietly, if someone was working dark magic against you, would you even recognize the first signs before they reached your soul? There is a truth most people never hear: dark magic rarely enters a life with noise. It enters with patterns, with shifts, with a shadow that moves just slightly faster than your understanding. Before I left witchcraft, I learned one thing too clearly. No curse begins with a loud attack. It begins with a silent invitation, a weakening, a crack in your emotional or spiritual walls. And if you don't know what to look for, that crack becomes a doorway. A doorway you never meant to open. The first sign reveals itself in your emotions, not in the dramatic ways you expect, but in quiet storms that make no sense. You wake up heavy. You feel irritated without reason. You break into sadness that does not belong to your story. Dark practitioners use emotional disruption because it's the easiest part of a human to disturb. Not your mind, not your body, your emotions. Because emotions are the closest language to the spirit. Once they touch that, they can shape your inner world without ever touching your physical life. Imagine a glass of water. To poison it, you don't need to break the glass. You only need one drop. Emotional disruption is that drop. The second sign is a series of misfortunes that appear harmless when viewed individually, but when seen together, they form a pattern, a spiritual fingerprint, the kind you only notice when you step back and ask, how can this many things go wrong in such a short time? The truth is simple: dark intention creates spiritual friction, and friction creates breakdown. Plans collapse, objects break, money leaks, relationships tense. Small disasters appear like scattered ashes. Separate, but born from one fire. When I was practicing witchcraft, curses were never designed to destroy in one moment. They were designed to exhaust, to weaken, to make the victim question themselves instead of the attack. Because once the victim doubts themselves, they stop protecting themselves. And that is when the curse grows stronger. Then comes the invisible drain. The third sign, a weight you cannot explain, a fogginess your mind cannot fight, a tiredness that sleep cannot fix. Dark magic works like a siphon. It takes, not violently, but steadily. It drains a person's clarity, their energy, their sense of self. When someone sends a curse, they are not sending an object. They are sending intention. Intention is a force, a vibration, a disturbance in the unseen. Your mind feels it first. Then your emotions follow. Then the body begins to carry the weight. And by the time you realize something is wrong, the energy drain has already created space for more darkness to enter. Imagine a house. A curse is not a thief breaking the door. It is a thief loosening the screws of that door every day, until one night the wind blows it open. And the fourth sign is the quietest, but the deadliest. When someone's jealousy begins to echo around your spirit. Jealousy is not just an emotion, it is a spiritual weapon, a curse hidden inside a human heart. When someone envies your life deeply, your peace, your progress, your relationships, your purpose, their thoughts create spiritual pressure, the kind you can feel before you ever understand it. You sense eyes on you, even when you're alone. You sense arguments growing where peace once lived. You feel a strange discomfort in your own success, as if someone wants your joy to taste bitter. This is not imagination. This is the spiritual echo of their intentions traveling toward you. Dark magic is rarely performed with candles and rituals. Sometimes it is performed with longing, with obsession, with resentment waiting for a target. And when that target is you, your spirit knows long before your mind does. No matter how silent the attack, the signs are never silent. They speak through emotion, through patterns, through exhaustion, through spiritual echoes. If you learn to read these signs, you learn to defend yourself long before the curse completes its work. And that is the difference between being hunted and being protected. There are moments in a person's life when emotions behave strangely, moments when the mind becomes heavy, the heart becomes restless, and an unexplained storm rises inside long before anything around you has actually changed. Many people ignore these moments. They think it is just mood, just stress, or just a bad day. But an ex-witch or an ex-occult practitioner will tell you something different. Emotional storms often begin before the attack reaches your physical life, not after. In the spiritual world, emotional disturbance is often the first alarm, the earliest indicator that something is approaching you, something unseen, or something sent, or something steered. Because emotions are not just chemical reactions, they are spiritual antennas. When someone targets you through dark intentions, envy, curses, or negative rituals, the first place the impact lands is not on your job, not on your relationships, not even on your physical body. It lands on your inner atmosphere. This is why emotional storms feel so out of place. They don't match your real life. Everything outside looks normal, but inside feels wrong. Your heart races without cause. Your thoughts become heavy. Your peace feels stolen. You sense pressure even when no situation exists to create that pressure. This mismatch is the key. When the emotion does not match the environment, something spiritual is involved. Dark intentions operate like spiritual weather systems. When someone directs a curse or focuses intense negative energy on you, it forms a turbulence in the unseen realm. And like thunder before lightning, your spirit feels it before your life sees it. This is why many people experience sudden anxiety, unexplained sadness, irritation, restlessness, or fear right before a wave of misfortune enters their life. Dark magic always begins by trying to destabilize your emotional ground. Because the enemy understands something, a shaken heart is easier to influence. A tired mind is easier to mislead. A restless spirit is easier to drain. This is the strategy. Weaken the emotions, distract the mind, confuse the intuition, influence the choices, ruin the path. And all of it starts with the emotional storm that arrives too early, too sudden, too intense for the situation you're actually living. I wasn't just ignorantly infused. The emotional storm is also designed to do one more thing: open spiritual cracks. Fear opens cracks. Hopelessness opens cracks. Irritation, confusion, and emotional instability open cracks. Why? Because a stable spirit is hard to enter, but a disturbed one becomes vulnerable. If you notice that your emotions suddenly drop, twist, or spiral for no reason, especially if this happens at specific times, such as early morning, late night, or after waking, this is not random. This is your spiritual field responding to a force trying to break in. Your emotions are the battleground before your life becomes the battlefield. When the storm arrives with no cause, it is a sign that something or someone is manipulating the spiritual air around you. This is the moment to pay attention, not later when the damage appears. Because the emotional storm isn't the attack. It's the warning before the attack. Misfortune rarely arrives alone. It comes in patterns. Small incidents that seem harmless when isolated, but alarming when combined. Losing small things, breaking objects, unexpected arguments, delays that make no sense, sudden loss of money, mechanical failures, strange timing, emotional clashes, doors closing, opportunities disappearing. Most people laugh it off and say, bad luck. But spiritual practitioners, especially former witches, see something much deeper. When misfortune becomes patterned, it is rarely accidental. It is a fingerprint, evidence of a hidden hand pressing into your life. Dark magic does not always strike like lightning. Sometimes it enters like termites, quiet, subtle, destructive. Little by little, misfortune forms a trail. Because curses, spells, or malicious intentions are not always dramatic. Often they are designed to weaken your environment slowly, so slowly that you don't connect the dots until the pattern becomes undeniable. For example, your phone falls, then your keys disappear, then your mood collapses, then your boss criticizes you unfairly, then a family member suddenly argues with you, then a bill arrives unexpectedly, then an appliance breaks. One event means nothing. A cluster of events means interference. Witches explain that negative energy operates like a spiritual magnet. Once someone directs harmful intention toward you, it begins attracting obstacles into your path. Why? Because frustration drains energy. Confusion weakens intuition. Repeated problems make you feel cursed even if you don't believe in curses. This emotional and spiritual exhaustion is the goal. Once you're tired, you become vulnerable. Patterns of misfortune also occur because your protection field, your emotional strength, your spiritual grounding, your mental clarity is being chipped away. Each misfortune is a strike. Each strike weakens your shield. When enough small cracks form, the attack can enter deeper. These patterns often show up in finances, relationships, as technology, as decisions, as health, as sleep timing, and coincidences. But the root is not physical, it's energetic, it's spiritual. It is the shadow of someone's intention reaching into your life like invisible hands rearranging events. The true sign is this: when the misfortune does not match your lifestyle, your choices, or your effort, then someone else's energy is interfering. When the problems come in waves, not random drops, someone is steering them. When the timing is too perfect or too consistent, it's not luck. It's a pattern crafted in the unseen. This is why practitioners say the first step of breaking dark influence is recognizing the pattern. Because once you see the pattern, you see the hand behind it. And once you see the hand, you can start breaking it. There are attacks that strike the body. There are attacks that strike the mind. But the most dangerous attacks strike the energy, because energy is the foundation of everything you do. Your clarity, your determination, your peace, your willpower, your intuition all depend on it. An invisible energy drain is one of the clearest signs that someone is directing intention against you. It does not feel like normal tiredness. It is heavier, more sudden, more draining, and strangely disconnected from your real life activities. People under spiritual attack describe the same symptoms. You wake tired after full sleep. You feel heavy for no reason. Your chest feels tight without cause. Your mind feels foggy even when there is no stress. Your motivation collapses in minutes. Your eyes feel dull. Your thoughts feel slow. Your spirit feels dim. These are not physical symptoms. They are energetic symptoms. Here is the reason dark practitioners, whether consciously or unconsciously, often target the energy field first. Why? Because if your energy collapses, everything else collapses automatically. This is the tactic. Drain the person, weaken their intuition G, lower their confidence W, disrupt their decisions, damage their life. It's the long game, the slow kill, the subtle breakdown. Because when someone attacks your energy, they don't need to attack your job, your relationships, your finances, or your goals. Those collapse naturally once your energy becomes unstable.